The reason that the history of Warner is so important is multifaceted. First of all, culture is critical in driving a company. And culture is built over many years, and it's a funny thing. It's built out of many things purposefully, and it's built out of many things that are perfectly just happenstance. And non-recorded music assets of Warner are very much a part of our history. The photographs, the album covers, the liner notes, contracts. This is all part of who we are. And as we look to the future, we have to understand where we came from as the company moves forward. And the archive project, The Site of Sound, is very much a part of understanding that culture and ultimately exploiting that as an opportunity as well.
The project had a very simple origin. Edgar Bronfman Jr., our chairman and CEO, asked a very basic question in a meeting. It seemed like a simple question, which was, what do we do with all this stuff that we create when we make a record? And unfortunately, the answer was not so simple. In the US alone, we have something like 50,000 boxes in storage, scattered over warehouses all over the place. And we don't really know what's in them.
Papers and memorabilia, artifacts, mark the progression of our lives and what we do as professionals. It's nice to have them around when you need them. In preparation for the Electra 60 project, although I had a lot of stuff and I could call on others, so many people told me that they threw a lot of things away over the years that they wish they hadn't. Fortunately, we have a department of two gentlemen, Bob Kaus and Grayson Damsick, who have worked diligently to go through untold thousands of boxes to help repatriate the culture we have thrown away. Frequently, we don't label things properly. We don't consider where we put them or how we file them. Archivists can help us with that. They can help lead us toward a better procedural path for doing things. I found the value of archiving so important for the Electra 60. They were able to find things I didn't even know that still existed.
So, bringing the babies home. Long journey home.
These are very, very valuable things, not to be carelessly handled. I'm grateful that we have an archival department. This is an ongoing problem. It's an ongoing opportunity. There are thousands of boxes still to look through, untold tapes, and having people with rich institutional memory working with the archive department is something very important for us to do.
The important thing about a lot of this is it tells a story. The story isn't complete without what happened, how the recording was created, the artwork that went with the recording, what was going on culturally at the time. So we have telegrams, we have correspondence, we have artwork, we have the 10th anniversary of Atlantic Records, which would have been 1957, 58. We found that the founders of the company, Ahmet Ertegun, Herb Abramson, and then Jerry Wexler, who came in later, all hand wrote the history of the company. The things that emerged were, it was history coming alive.
You have to have the breadth of knowledge of both understanding photography, the history of music, and the corporate history. To be able to sift through a box and separate the wheat from the chaff, what's valuable, what's significant, and what's not. And in the first few months of this project alone, we've discovered Ray Charles's original recording agreement where he signs an X mark on his name. We've discovered photography of Led Zeppelin in the studio that had never been seen before, works of great photographers shooting Aretha Franklin. The list goes on and on.
The archives are not only about the obvious artifacts like music, photography, and album art, but also the unexpected, such as original pieces of sheet music, which was the only way to reproduce music prior to the phonograph. Musical instruments like pianos, costumes and clothing from stage productions, and written correspondence dating all the way back to Beethoven.
It's a staggering amount of content that's just being revealed. And when you think about how the music industry is evolving and how consumers are experiencing music, you realize that these assets are more and more valuable.
Physical products such as collectible books, fine art prints, museum-type exhibits, and merchandise are the obvious. But digital technology, especially the advent of wireless and connected devices, such as smartphones and tablets and game consoles, present us with great opportunities for next-generation products like ebooks, interactive photo galleries, applications, and iTunes LP-type products, as well as things we haven't even begun to imagine.
One of the things that the archive effort has really opened our minds to is approaching a different consumer base. So what you see here is an example of one of our photo books. We're able to take both archive and new release-based photos and throw them together in a new experience.
We've got to think about what we produce as both a visual product and an audio product. And the interesting thing about content companies, not just music, but publishers and television studios and movie studios, is we tend to offer to the consumer only the finished product. And all the work that goes into the finished product, we basically throw away, or we stick it in a file drawer somewhere. And consumers are interested in so much more than just the finished product. And the whole creative process is fascinating to the general public. That creative process can be part of how we marry our audio product with visual stimuli and product and alternatives for consumers. And so it's really important that we think about our product as video and audio, and super important that I say to all of our employees, please remember this stuff is valuable. Don't let it go away. Figure out how in your department you can preserve and who's responsible for preserving all of this stuff, because even if you think on the day nobody's going to care about this, you never know. And the more we can save and edit and determine what's really valuable and what isn't, and have that as an active choice as opposed to somebody just sort of throwing stuff away, is enormously important to our future.